Also breaking tonight, a major policy win for the White House, and more importantly, hard-working Americans in the service industry. The U.S. Senate, get this, they just unanimously passed Donald Trump's No Tax on Tips Act. Why did they ever think of it? They stand for the working men and women. Oh, they used to. Anyway, as per usual, this was a calculated political move by Democrats who are just pretending to be supportive of tax cuts. They only want piecemeal votes while really attempting to block the president's big, beautiful tax package that includes several other tax cuts, including no tax on overtime or Social Security, and, of course, the extension of the Trump tax cuts to make them permanent from 2018. If that bill passes, America will have the largest tax cut in history. If Democrats ultimately get their way, taxes on all Americans who currently pay income taxes will go way up. It will be the largest tax increase in American history. Everyone's paycheck will go down. That is why President Trump's big, beautiful tax bill is so imperative and important. We're counting on the House tomorrow. But we begin with the left's three favorite words: threat to democracy and, well, their other favorite words, cheap, fake videos that were all too real. Now, we've all heard Democrats and the legacy media mob use these words over and over and over again to attack Donald Trump. But as it turns out, it was all projection. Now even fake news CNN, even MSDNC are admitting that Joe Biden was not fit to serve for 4 long years. And everyone on the left willfully and purposely propped up a mentally, cognitively incompetent politician suffering from a steep decline. Tonight, there is no debate. There never was. America went 4 years without a president that had his full faculties. And Democrats, they were ready to make it 8 years before responding to polls and quickly making a bait and switch and installing Kamala Harris to run in Joey's place without any kind of democratic process at all whatsoever. In other words, that was a threat to democracy. A president in a cognitive decline is a massive national security threat. But the Democrats and the legacy media mob, of course, hating Trump is always their #1 top priority. And to top that off, we are now suddenly learning that Biden, sadly, we pray for him and his family, he's been diagnosed with stage 4 prostate cancer that apparently has metastasized to his bones. Most medical experts believe this likely took up to 10 years to get this bad. But we're supposed to believe that Biden's cancer went totally, completely, utterly unnoticed during his time as president, despite the round-the-clock, world-class medical care. I saw it for my own eyes in the Middle East last week. Any president has the best medical care at his disposal at all times, as it should be. A Biden spokesperson telling Fox News that his last known PSA cancer screening test was 2014. Every man I know gets one every year. It's part of a blood test. It's a simple test. It's not a difficult test. It makes no sense. And, of course, this leaves us with a lot of important questions. First and foremost, why would we believe anything the Bidens, the media, or Democrats tell us? And here's something really important that must be answered. Did Joe Biden know or understand anything that he was signing into law? Was he even aware that AutoPen was being used? If the answer is no, are any of Biden's enacted laws and pardons, executive orders, are they actually valid? Now, earlier today, this is what President Trump had to say. Take a look.
We're going to start looking into this whole thing with who signed this legislation. Who signed legislation opening our border? I don't think he knew. I said there's nobody that could want an open border. Nobody. And now I find out that it wasn't him. He auto-penned it. Who was operating the auto-pen? This is a very serious thing. We had a president that didn't sign anything. He auto-penned almost everything. He opened the borders of the United States of America. And I kept saying, who would do such a thing? Allowing criminals to pour in from all over the world, not just South America, all over the world.
Naturally, Democrats, the left, they don't want us to think about any of that. Instead, well, there are 3 political strategies Democrats and their, of course, the extension of their press offices, the media, are using to gaslight all of you. So be on the lookout for the following tactics. First, some simply want the American people to forget about the last 4 years. Let's just move forward, shall we? Take a look.
You said in June of last year, in my meetings with President Biden, I found to be a command and a precedent wielding influence to make progress on key priorities. But in that same month, Biden and Kennedy did not even recognize George Cloutier, a fundraiser. Were you being straight with the American public?
Look, we're just looking forward.
We lied to you the whole time, but we're just looking forward. Why admit to the truth? No big deal. Who cares that we propped up a president in name only while Americans suffered, and suffered greatly? We have known terrorists and rapists and murderers, cartel members, gang members as a result of that. The next tactic is a little more dishonest, so of course it's the favorite of the so-called journalists in the media, as our friend Liberal Joe says on Liberal Joe Scarborough demonstrated. Some on the left are still pretending. They won't open their eyes. They are pretending that there were no signs of Joe Biden's cognitive decline, which we chronicled before the 2020 election and almost every night in between. Take a look.
Looking back at that, do you say, well, it was misleading to say best Biden ever without caveating it and say, except on the days when he's not the best Biden ever?
Well, but I never saw those days personally.
Well, you did, because you saw him address a dead congresswoman, and you saw him in South Carolina. There were plenty of days in public when he was not the best Biden ever, and of course, shortly after,
he stumbled and bumbled around. Mark, I mean, yeah, he certainly did. Donald Trump did. Other politicians did. Those are some of the clips bad? Yeah, they certainly are bad. Put in the proper context. I'm just not going to freak out and melt down on one or two clips here or there.
No, not one or two. There's like one or two a day. A great job, Mark Halpern. Liberal Joe, nobody believes you. You can quit the act, which brings us to our third political tactic, and that is the left that they're using to cover their tracks over on fake news CNN. Fake Jake Tapper. He's even now looking to profit from this political gaslighting. In fact, Tapper is out with some brand new book detailing the shocking discovery that President Joe Biden was a cognitive mess and that the White House went to great lengths to conceal the truth. So are we ever going to believe fake Jake was just totally blind, dumb, and ignorant for 4 years? I don't believe. Well, he's all of that, but he also lied. Of course, what fake Jake fails to mention is that his own network, they went to greater lengths masking Biden's cognitive decline during years of laughable reporting. As late as 2024, CNN was still blaming Biden's stutter for his unusual public behavior. Even Tapper himself once blaming Biden's obvious cognitive decline on his stutter. And less than a year ago, the fake news network trashing, quote, right-wing media outlets, accusing them of using manipulated videos, or what they were calling cheap fakes. Well, after this program and others here on the Fox News channel dared to air very real videos of Biden wandering aimlessly, shaking air, tripping and falling and getting confused. Well, you might remember some. Take a look.
We're hearing about so-called cheap fakes. It's playing out on right-wing media, Fox, New York Post, and so on. And all of this is to try to make the case that Biden is slipping, he's confused, and so on.
There are a lot of videos going around about President Biden on social media. Which ones are real? Which ones are deceptively edited, now being called cheap fakes?
A lot of memes and what the White House is calling cheap fakes.
Cheap fakes are a little bit simpler. They're cheap. They're just distorted, out of context videos, chopped up in certain ways, constructed in certain ways. That's what we're seeing. That's what the Biden administration, the Biden campaign is so worried about right now.
If Humpty Dumpty's on the other side, that means he's wrong. Whatever side he's on, he's wrong, period. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.